Have you ever been there, sat on your grandparents' 1800s stool and imagined how China has managed to raise megacities and also thought to be impossible infrastructure like never before? Take a pause in your imagination. Then think about various continents. Pick out one continent, being none other than Africa, then imagine, could there be any other country or countries that can do the same as China? Your answer may be straight away, no. But what if you're wrong? The way President Ibrahim Traore is practically creating a broader picture of energized Burkina Faso, for this case, in terms of turning around the infrastructural development of this Sahel country of West Africa, is slowly snatching everyone's attention, not only in Africa but also around the world. As China is known to investing heavily in large-scale infrastructure projects, including transportation, energy, and communications, both domestically and internationally, with the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, being a key driver of its global infrastructure investments, certain African countries, for this case, Burkina Faso, under the leadership of President Ibrahim Traore, is rapidly adopting this way of infrastructural development to the limits no one ever imagined. As we have seen that China has different infrastructural initiatives, with the major one being the Road and Belt Initiative, Burkina Faso is not only talking, but also started on the implementation of this initiative, which is going to break records as one of the major infrastructural developments in not only West Africa, but also Africa at large. As we have seen that one of the major infrastructures China has managed to show the world are various advanced road networks, which are crucial in the easiest movement of goods and people, Burkina Faso's Faso Mebo initiative is including the same concept of mass improvement of road networks throughout the country. But remember, everything has a starting point. In order to realize the implementation of quite large construction projects, various construction machines are crucial for efficient and successful project completion, offering increased productivity, enhanced efficiency, and cost effectiveness by reducing manual labor and improving project timelines. China is known for incorporating machinery that has broken records in the fast implementation of projects in this Asian giant. President Ibrahim Traore is impressed by this way of implementation. That's why, as soon as the Faso Mebo initiative was announced recently, many thought it was just to excite Burkina Faso and Africans at large. But the captain was cooking something. Firstly, the cabinet, together with President Ibrahim Traore, had to allocate a proportion of funds towards the Faso Mebo initiative. Before even yearning to find out the amount of cash allocated for this one-of-a-kind initiative, you should know that this kind of allocation is not the usual exaggeration that different African countries come up with an aim of putting huge sums in pockets of officials in charge of those projects. This massive investing of over 200 billion CFA francs in this initiative has already shown positive signs with this, just ago, massive purchase and arrival of a large fleet of construction machines for the first phases of the Faso Mebo initiative. These just purchased machines are not just going to sit and rot in parking areas. President Ibrahim Traore, while at the inauguration ceremony of these heavy machines, emphasized the urgent start on the paving and improvement of road networks in order to shift to other components of the Faso Mebo presidential initiative. It should be known that the Faso Mebo initiative is not going to only end on mass improvement and construction of road networks. In this initiative, President Ibrahim Traore also has a vision of coming up with low-rise buildings with ample parking spaces as an alternative low-cost urbanization for the expanding cities and for Burkina Faso to be able to afford housing in general. Poor roads conditions have negative and overlapping consequences for residents of Burkina Faso, increasing travel time, making transit more dangerous, limiting producers' access to markets and citizens' access to social services, and also disrupting military operations against destabilizers, as President Ibrahim Traore emphasized during the ceremony, hence in the Faso Mebo initiative. Maintaining national road connectivity is crucial for transport in Burkina Faso. While major urban and intercity roads are paved, they can be narrow and full of potholes. Dirt roads are common, even in large cities. Vehicles will often enter oncoming traffic to pass or maneuver around obstacles. Rural roads outside of major arteries are often in poor condition, and roadside assistance is not available. Some rural roads are impassable in the rainy season. At night, there is a high volume of truck traffic passing through the country, and pedestrians, bicycles, and donkey carts pose a major hazard on unlit, unmarked roads. Vehicles are often dangerously overloaded and poorly maintained. President Ibrahim Traore had already seen these challenges, hence the urgency to purchase this fleet of construction machines, to immediately start the work on the first component of the Faso Mebo presidential initiative. In China, we observe that extensive road networks have continued to be crucial for economic growth, connecting regions, facilitating trade, and improving the lives of its vast population, especially in rural areas. This is aligned with President Ibrahim Traore's major national development strategies for poverty eradication, rural revitalization, and the modernization of agriculture and rural areas. Like China, President Ibrahim Traore's Faso Mebo initiative wants to ensure that rural roads fully play their foundational role for bolstering economic and social development in rural areas. These over 900 machines, including bulldozers, graders, track carriers, double cabins, among others, have made Burkinabés starting to believe that what they have been observing in developed countries is finally in the West African country. While at the ceremony, President Ibrahim Traore talked about a very interesting thing that Africa has failed to think about critically. President Ibrahim Traore strongly talked about the presence of resources in realizing the Faso Mebo initiative that even a number of nations in the West lack. What was he meaning in this? Indeed, a number of European nations are not endowed with natural resources as those that a number of African countries have, yet they are able to put up the necessary infrastructure that the same African countries are just dreaming of. President Ibrahim Traore looked at this as a big blow to Africa that needs to wake up and work on its challenges, because it has almost everything it needs to solve long-term problems. The Faso Mebo initiative, when realized, is going to open all long been closed doors in Burkina Faso concerning economic growth and development. With no doubt, road infrastructure can't be left out when a nation is serious about achieving its desired goals. The infrastructure developed also helps Burkina Faso to address the imbalance between its more developed regions and its less developed regions. For Burkina Faso, the Faso Mebo initiative is appealing because of the opportunities it offers to alleviate their economic disadvantages relative to other West African countries. Under this initiative, President Ibrahim Traore wants between 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers of road to be paved annually. This is massive, as it is going to change the narrative concerning road networks in Burkina Faso. Indeed, the resources needed for the construction of these road networks are readily available. Why not realize this magnificent project? With no doubt, the seriousness of President Ibrahim Traore and his cabinet is showing that the Faso Mebo is soon taking shape. Entering the new era, Burkina Faso is advancing to high-quality urban and rural road construction in support of the poverty eradication campaign and the rural revitalization strategy, and in service of farmers striving for moderate prosperity, meeting the goal that all towns, townships, and administrative villages where conditions allow have access to asphalt and cement roads, as well as bus and postal services. Coming up with safe and convenient transport networks is going to bring about a remarkable transformation in both urban and rural areas, connecting villages and towns conveniently to urban areas, while expanding transport services to villages. By paving various road networks, President Ibrahim Traore's government is working to see that people's needs for quality transport are met and roads are built where they are most needed, in an effort to address the issues that directly impact the people's most immediate interests. Well-conceived plans that take into account future needs are being carefully devised by President Ibrahim Traore, and weak points and transport bottlenecks that previously hindered progress in rural and urban areas are immediately addressed.